Hey, Mike, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Did I catch you at a good time?
Oh yeah, I'm doing good right now.
I'm glad to hear that, man. It was a big event this weekend, man. When it came down to the boxing,
Yeah, it definitely was.
yeah, Tank and Ryan, David Morrell. We had the young guy Elijah Garcia. What was the biggest thing on your radar, in regard to what happened in all these fights?
Well, Morale is going to be a test for anybody in the top five in that weight class. I'm looking forward to somebody giving him a shot. I'm gonna tell you the truth. Uh, Benavidez and Morel, I believe, would be a good fight. I really do.
Yeah, yeah. Was that a I know that guy. He was supposed to be a silver medalist, and supposed to have a rep, but I didn't. I wasn't gonna fake the phone like I knew a lot about him. I don't think a lot of people knew because he was a last minute replacement, but he just went in there and just total devastation.
Yeah, he just went in there. That's all. He looked exactly like he was a replacement. Yeah, he did exactly what a lot of replacements do. You know what I mean? But he was totally outclassed. Morel is in that upper echelons, and if you're not a top five fighter in that weight class, you don't really have a chance with him based on what I saw. But then again, the guy he was fighting wasn't of the caliber to really give him a credible test. But with him already being a champ, then he has to fight somebody that's capable of putting on a good show. This guy definitely, he wasn't the answer.
Yeah, I think word had came out. Now I was watching because I be riding Benavidez a little hard on the on some of the things, but he proved me he got some respect from me on this Caleb Plant, and along with me watching the CompuBox on him, prior to the Caleb Plant fight, he grew on me. But he had mentioned David Morrell, was like the third name he mentioned behind Jamal and Andrade. But he recently came out, I think they asked him again about it, and he basically said, to me it kind of sounded like down the line, or that'll be a good fight, like don't hold your breath. That's the kind of vibes I got from it. So I think Dave Morrell, man, he's high risk, very low reward for a lot of people right now. And the fact that he got a belt, granted it's a secondary belt, but the fact that he got a belt, he's in line. So he's at a point to where they can't really deny him. So he's gonna get one of them guys.
He definitely is.
Yeah, he's gonna get one of them guys soon. So I mean, they can't play around, man. He said, I think he has the hardest slogan in boxing right now. He said, outside, I respect everything and everybody. He was like, but inside the ring, I don't respect nothing, man. I was like, and that's what he said, man. I said, man, he fight like that because he been putting people in the hospital, man. I mean, we know boxers don't ever plan on it, but his track record is saying if you don't know what you're doing, or you are not in his skill set, and you don't have a good solid tactical plan, man, you in for some trouble, man. You going to the hurt locker, man.
Yeah, I believe that's right. I agree 100% with you.
Yeah,
it's hard to evade it, so we might as well get into the gist and the major thought in this call. Tank versus Ryan. We gotta get to it. So I figured I'd talk about some other things first, because I'm gonna tell you totally, this particular fight, for me, it was a little bit of a letdown because I wanted it to be more of a war. Okay? it never truly broke out as a war where you didn't understand or know what combatant was taking control of the fight.
Right.
Tank had some momentum as opposed of winning rounds, but even the round that he won, it was really one punch in that whole round. But Ryan got up. He didn't seem to be too bothered. So he did well in getting up and continuing. The only problem at the end of the fight, the way the fight ended, the end of the fight left a lot of viewers thinking that Ryan just quit. He just gave up because he wasn't out on his back. He was well alert. He wasn't to the point where he was dazed and didn't know his faculties. He seemed to look okay. And because of that, it's given a lot of fight fans the illusion that he quit. He just didn't want to fight anymore. But it's one thing about that I noticed right away. When he got up and was standing up, his nose was bleeding. But that could have happened from a punch earlier in the round that caused your nose to bleed. But if that particular body shot was so devastating that it caused his nose to bleed, then that was really truly a hard shot, although it does not have the appearance of it, because in real time I actually missed the punch. I didn't really see the punch until they showed it on replay. But it just leaves some fight fans with a bitter taste. They just think that he quit when he could have kept going. But I guess the only person that really knows the truth is Ryan.
And it'll come out. It's gonna come out. I don't think it's gonna come out like instantly, but here's my thoughts on that. I believe that Ryan, I can't say for sure, but he might have cracked a rib, and I don't think that he wanted to admit that. I don't think he wanted to admit that in front of the cameras, because he tried to play it off and say that first time when he got knocked down, he was like, he got hurt worse. It hurt more when Luke Campbell did it than that one. You know what I'm saying? But so he was still pretty much playing his, his poker face. You know, he had his poker face on, I believe. And I don't think that he was. Yeah, he looked like a Tank fan after the fight, but I don't think that he's really ready to come out with the truth, because I think that everybody's saying he done, but I think that he still want to move forward and try to, and fight some more. But everybody's saying he's done, he's finished, and I'm like, when the big fights happen, man, you really can't treat these boxers like that, man. That's why they don't want to fight. But that's all I'm hearing now. So I don't think he was really ready to put that out there, because I think he gonna hop right back in the saddle. It might not be this year, because again, we don't know if Tank broke something. I said he put some hot sauce on them ribs, you know what I'm saying? And it was a delayed reaction, and yes, it looked like he can get up. And Ryan said, yeah, I was on the verge of getting up, but whether he sacrificed himself from getting put out worse, or something was broke, or he knew that he wasn't going to be able to put up no real fight at that point, because it was blood in the water, you know what I'm saying? The shark was out. So it's hard to read, man, like, especially, with everybody being all political. But we're not going to know the truth for a while. We're not going to know what really happened. I mean, I know the former heavyweight champ, Andy Ruiz, he said he basically quit. That's what so some of his people are saying. I think I seen one of the greats, one of the legends, say something crazy, like, the same thing, that he quit. I think that he was trying to he made a business decision, I think, You know, that's my opinion, man. Which, you know, he didn't want to go out on the shield like that. I believe that's what he said. He made a business decision, man.
One thing though about that business decision, he still gets a KO. You know what I mean? So he still, it's a knockout. But you know, many fans, and then like you say, some fighters are saying he quit. You know, I guess he's the only one that can really describe what that pain was like, but he hasn't really said it yet. He only said that he couldn't continue.
Yeah,
you know, and for a fight fan, that's not good enough of an explanation. We want to know why you didn't get up. Why didn't you keep fighting? You know, and if in fact if he did suffer a broken rib, I don't think there's any fighter or fight fan that would hold that against him. If he was hit and had a cracked rib and he couldn't go no more, who would say legitimately, no, you get up there and you fight once you got a cracked rib? I mean, that's understandable, but until it comes out that maybe he had a cracked rib, you know, we don't know. But if I thought I had a cracked rib, I would say I got hit and the pain was so excruciating that I knew I couldn't go on. You know, it just felt like my rib was cracked.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna get that from him because, you know, not only is the fans gonna hear that, other boxers gonna hear that. So anybody that might be on the radar or might have him on the radar, I don't think he would want to put that out there. I could be wrong. This is my speculation. I've heard a lot of different people talk about it, and that's what I believe. You know what I'm saying? He's not gonna sit up there. He already tried to disguise the fact that Luke Campbell hurt him more than Tank did. So he's playing that game where he's not gonna really let you know how bad he was hurt. I think he did come out and say he was stopped in sparring. He had confirmed them things. But remember when that actually happened, till now, he had been denying it the whole time. So it's gonna be a little delay on when he come out with what really went on. You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna get it. That's just me. And then if you're gonna be forthright about whether or not it was, you know, serious or not, where it was cracked or bruised, deeply bruised, or however you want to call it, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if he's gonna be, because he hasn't always been honest. Like him saying God told him he was going to end Tank in the second round. God didn't tell him that.
God was just fucking with him, that's all. That's all. He just fucking with him.
That's what I want to keep in mind with Ryan, man. I salute him. I salute him for getting in the ring with you know what I'm saying? I salute him for getting in the ring with Tank. You know what I'm saying? I know he was outgunned. You know, we knew that, but he signed that, you know, he made some bread now. I'm hearing some hefty numbers now. He made us some bread. He got the experience of sharing the ring with him. Hopefully he learned from it. You know what I'm saying? I think he did say he got a little bit too aggressive, and he was like, he got caught, you know what I'm saying? But according to the numbers, it was 13-14 in favor of Garcia. Total punches 34-42 percentage wise. That favored Garcia. Power punches, Tank landed at 48%. Ryan
that's
landed
because Tank is an accurate puncher. He may not throw as many punches and power shots, but when he throw them, they accurate.
Yeah, and then the power that he got, you know, Ryan was only at 42, but this is the marquee. Because remember, on the power punches, I always say 42-44%. That indicates a dominant performance. Which, if you look at the 42 by Ryan, you would say, okay, because he was touching Tank. He had a little spurt, like especially in that second round before he got too, you know, comfortable, like a lot of Tank's opponents. Body shots, doing that body work. Tank landed 18, and Ryan landed 7. So that was the difference, man. I mean, you know, them body shots, man, and that was the tail of the tape. That was it. That was, you know what I'm saying, that body work was what got him. He put some hot sauce on them ribs, and those numbers tell the story as to what actually happened. A lot of people was talking about the scorecards. I try not to get into it because, again, I always say, if people go back to one of those earlier episodes, one of the top 5 myths in boxing, knockouts are overrated, which I say they're not. The reason why I say that is, like, I'm not all about the knockout, but to stop an opponent or to knock an opponent out is the only way to guarantee that the rendered judgment is not in the judge's hands. That's why I always put an emphasis on it, and that's what it was.
Yeah, because, there's a lot of controversy concerning that second round and the way that round was scored. And the way I look at it, that round could not be anything other than a 10-8. Coming up with anything other than a 10-8, I got a problem with that.
Yeah.
And then, can you even score around 10-10?
I mean, I would say, I guess if you felt like Ryan was winning most of that round and Tank got a flash knockdown, typically a knockdown is 2 point. That's a 2 point disparity right there. Like, you already at that. But a 10-10, that's a reach because you got dropped, but you didn't drop your opponent. So it got to be some kind of disparity, like where at least a 10-9 if you had to warrant it, at least. But no, I've never heard. I mean, I ain't gonna say I never heard of it. I've heard people say that, but I'm like, I don't know. I think that was just something wonky, a trend that happened, and because somebody did it, it's a way to pull that out.
I've never heard of a round being scored 10-10. It's supposed to be a 10-point must and 9 to the loser, or it could be 8 if it's a dominating round or a person get knocked down. A score that I've always known is either 10-8 or 10-9. I never known anything about you can score the fight 10-10.
Yeah, that's why I always be asking you. Sometimes, when I ask you, and I be like, well, judging from how judges typically see it, I kept asking you, how you see that one? Because on the swing rounds, those are the ones when I would really emphasize and ask you about them, because when they're swing rounds where nobody really showed any clear dominance or whatever, it's like, if you want to score even, what is the even score to put down?
Mm-hmm. Well, I tell you what, that second round, by virtue of the knockdown, that should have been a 10-8.
Absolutely.
And by a stretch, maybe you call it a 10-9. But there's no way that's a 10-10. Right. You're giving 10 points to both. Nah, I have a problem with that, and maybe I need someone to explain that to me to make me believe why that should have even been written down on the stats. Because to me, it's incomprehensible to even look at that round and think that was an even 10-10 round.
Right. I don't know how, that's going to be something to talk about. But, a lot of people was, getting ready to say they was on their way to trying to use the R word, rob Tank, the way that fight. They said that's what they was doing, but that's why I say, man, like, we can't no more underestimating the stoppage or the knockout, because you will see it. Sometimes it is some funky scoring, man, and these judges, it seems like some of them done got complacent to where, they eking by. But hopefully with a fight of that magnitude, with that much money on the line, if they're gonna even see the light of day again over there, I don't know, or something to that magnitude. I know that's how they do it in the NFL. If you get, let's just say, I think they're like demerits, like bad calls, or something like that. That it's a point system, and depending on that point system is going to dictate whether or not you get some of them playoff games or even be affiliated with a Super Bowl. So they need to have something like that when it comes to them judges. If you stinking up the joint with something like that, and causing confusion with some of these scores, You need some demerits to where, you know, you get too many of them and you ain't gonna be able to judge no more.
Yeah, you be judging the fight from the ringside seat. You won't be judging from a scores table. So, you be doing your own scoring, sitting in the back. Your unofficial score. Yeah, we can't have you up there working.
Yeah, with no check to claim at that point, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But let me ask you.
Even Showbiz say they was trying to set up the Raw. You know how animated he is about stuff. He was saying there's no way that was a 10-10. They said they were trying to set up for the Raw. Yeah. But he said, thank goodness the fight ended the way it needed to end, with Tank winning by KO. Because if it had went the distance, he said they was trying to rob him.
Yeah. What do you think? What are the implications of this fight? I mean, we know it wasn't any belts on the line. We know, yes, they did a ceremony for Tank. Coach Calvin and them had a ceremony where they gave him a bead for every O that he's taken. So he got 7. That was the 7th undefeated champion. But what really does this victory do for Tank, and what does it do for Ryan? Like, what do you see them two going from here?
Well, Ryan has already made his decision. He says he's moving to 140. So at this particular point, we got to see what Ryan's going to do. But I don't think right now the big focus is really on Ryan right at this particular moment. You know, we have to wait and see what Ryan is going to do and who his next opponent going to be. But I don't think right now anybody is really looking forward to his next opponent and actually looking to call somebody out right now at this particular moment. I think with Tank, okay, I think what they're going to be looking at is he going to fight Devin? Is he going to fight Shakur? I think that is the $1 million question. He could possibly fight somebody else, but that would only be in preparation for Shakur or Haney. Those are the two targets out there I think that Tank is headed to right now. And plus Tank has mentioned that in so many words he don't want to stay around in the game too much longer. And if that's what he's really gonna do, then there's only 2 more fights maybe for him. If Devin Haney wins, then Haney would be on the radar. And right now, Shakur is on the radar, barring he don't take a fight and loses. If both of these fighters are victorious, then it looks like it's going to be either one of them. Now, enter Lomachenko. If Lomachenko wins, then that fight could actually be Tank and Lomachenko as a possible match. And on the same token, Shakur, at barring that he don't have a misstep. So that's what I see for Tank. I don't know what else is left for him to do at 135.
Yeah, that's a good. I think you gave a good snapshot about that. Now, with Tank went into that magnitude and doing that to Ryan and Devin being at the fight watching that, what does that influence the Lomachenko and Devin fight? Does that add any pressure, or does that make any? Because it's next month. You know, it's next month. So we don't have that long before that fight is there. But does the implications of this fight influence them two boxers at all?
Well, to me, it's only going to influence the one who wins the fight, because the winner of that fight is the one that stays in contention of a possible fight with Tank. If either loses this fight, it takes them a step below the match with Tank. If Lomachenko wins, I think Lomachenko will fight Tank and then call it a career. Wherein Haney, if Haney wins, if he fights Tank, even if he loses, because of his age, he will still be around in boxing. But I don't think Lomachenko have too many more fights out there to actually be at the top of his game. Lomachenko been around for a minute, so you know, for him, this is gonna be the last hurrah. It's a possibility that if Lomachenko loses to Haney, he may retire. I think it takes a win for him to keep him in the game.
Yeah. So that's added motivation for Loma then, huh?
Yes. If he's only planning on staying around for a couple more years, if he wins this fight, then not only do that put him in contention to fight Tank, it puts him in contention of fighting Shakur also.
Yeah, let me ask you the money question though. Let's say, okay, you got, well, I'll say you can answer this is the first one, but you can answer this second. It's two lines. It's Tank and Lomachenko, and it's Tank and Devin. But let's say, what fight do you think is bigger? Now, granted, if it's Tank and Devin, it's gonna be for undisputed, and it's the big money fight. If it's Tank and Loma, it's gonna be for undisputed, and it's the big money fight. Which fight or which line are you standing in?
Okay, I'm gonna say this. If Haney wins, I think the Haney-Davis fight will be bigger than a Lomachenko-Davis fight.
You think so?
I think so, because a lot of people think that Haney will be able to outbox Tank. And then there's been a lot of talk about what Devin did to Tank in the gym, and Davis can't beat Haney, and in the gym, this, that, the other. So that history is going to come into that fight. And because with Lomachenko and Davis, there is no history. You know what I mean? There's no controversy that's already built up between the two fighters. So I think more controversy will be built up between Haney and Tank, because the Devin fans already believe that he can beat him. And the Tank fans gonna believe Tank can win. And then you got them that's got some history already. So it's more drama to be thrown out there in the Haney-Davis fight than the Lomachenko-Davis fight.
It definitely is more drama. Now, the money question is, does Devin do that though? If he gets past Loma, does Devin go to 140, or does he really get that smoke?
Well, his father said that they stand at 135. Now, if you're gonna stay at 135, who are you staying at 135 for? If it's not Tank.
Well, I think Shakur the mandatory, or he's gonna be the mandatory. So
it'll be him or either Shakur.
So
but I think
you think he's gonna stand in that Tank
Haney fight will draw more money than the Haney Shakur fight.
But you, if it was two lines and you could go see Tank and Devin, or Tank and Loma, you standing in the Tank and Devin line.
I think that will be the fight that would be more interesting, only because they got prior history. They gonna be talking about what they did to each other in the gym and this, that, the other. And you know what I mean? The controversy helps sell fights too.
I know, but let's say for me, I'm looking inside the ring. You think a fight between Devin and Tank inside the ring with their skill sets is a better fight than Lomachenko and Tank? If out of the, I mean, yes, barring that either one of them is the winners. Now we talking about this is post Loma and Devin. You think that a fight between inside the ring, inside the square circle, is a better fight between Tank and Devin, and then Tank and Loma?
Now see, a better fight and a better attractive fight is two different things. In the sport, for the sport of boxing and the money that can be made with the purse, I think Devin and Davis can draw the biggest purse.
Okay.
Now, as far as the fight in the ring, if Lomachenko is able to come away with a victory, then we know he has the skills to be a good boxer. But I don't think a Lomachenko-Davis fight draws the capital that a Haney-Davis fight will draw. I think it will be bigger in terms of purse fighting Haney than Lomachenko.
Okay. Yeah, I'm divided. You know what I'm saying? I'm divided because I got what I'm looking at is I gotta take a hat off when I look at it. I look at it like this is going to be the fight where Haney was just beat Loma. So I gotta look at him. Okay, you got Loma on your resume. Or I gotta look at it like Loma, you got Devin on your resume, and so now you undisputed. Now it's going up against Tank. I don't know money wise. I don't know which one is better. I don't know which one is better money wise, because I mean Lomachenko, he have a lot of fans, man. Like ESPN, he's been fighting on ESPN all that time. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people know Loma, like, you know, they know him. I mean, I think it's still some people out here that don't really know Devin like that. So money-wise, I don't know. Skill-wise, I'm looking at, you know, Tank against another southpaw. You know what I'm saying? Just like we would be seeing Tank against, you know, another southpaw in Shakur as well, if that were to ever happen. Frank Martin as well, if that were to ever happen. So I'm looking at it two different things. I don't know how I would look at it. I would have to revisit it to see how Devin was to beat Loma versus how Loma was to beat Devin before I could say which one is the bigger money and which one is the one with better skills, because I don't know what Loma is right now, and I know that it's two different stands. It's Tank against another tall, you know, a tall orthodox fighter, or Tank against somebody closer to his height, which, like with Cruz being a little shorter than him, that was more of a challenge. So I don't know if the shorter one that can box with lateral movement, southpaw, would be. I don't know. I was just asking you just to see, you know, because y'all value how you look and see things. So I ride with you, but I gotta wait till that fight happen, man.
Well, if you're right, it's whoever's gonna fight Tank. If it's gonna be within the next fight or two, it's gonna be whoever wins this fight. Whoever loses this fight, they taking a step down in terms of going towards Tank, unless of course they have a rematch clause.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm not even sure if they do.
I'm pretty sure Devin would have one. You know what I'm saying? So far, he had one against JoJo. I mean, he won one against JoJo. I mean, you know, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But it's just something. It's just really something to think about and something to ponder on right now. It's really, you know, because nothing. We still got to see that fight. You know what I'm saying? We still got to see that fight. And I will say this. Even if one of them were to lose, either one of them would still be a big fight in my theory, because we always said we want to see the best fight and the best. And if you look at it, there are so many like broken links. It's like there are like so many triangles that have not been completed. And I'll give you an example. You got Tank fighting Gamboa, you got Devin fighting Gamboa. They didn't fight each other. You got T.O. fighting Kambosos, Devin fighting Kambosos. They didn't fight each other. So now you're gonna have Devin fighting Loma, right? And then that one be Devin fighting Tank. But at that point, I guess we saying Loma gonna be so washed, even though I don't really think he gonna take a beating if he loses. It's gonna be, you know, on the scorecards,
Hey,
I believe.
Mike, are you
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I understand. I totally understand. But all I was saying was, as a fan, right? We all have to talk about wanting to see the best fight the best. And for me, I know Loma's window is short, but I don't know if the loser of that fight was the fight Tank. I don't know if that would be a bad fight. Yeah, it would be coming off a loss. That's one thing. You don't ever want to do that. But if they gear it up to where, you know, let's say Devin going to 140 or doing whatever he gonna go do, and it happens, you know, and Loma is there, because there are all these broken links where the triangles are never completed. You know what I'm saying? Where like Devin and Shakur fight, and then Shakur and Devin fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Tank and Devin fight, and Tank and Shakur fight. Then you know, I mean, I think it's like that, but the way it seemed and the way they, you know, way people trashing Ryan and saying this and this and that, like, you know, basically treating them like that after losing the O, it's like, this is part of the reason why we don't really get to see the best fights, because when the elite fight the elite, not right away coming off of a loss, but we still want to see them fight if they're still, you know, in their prime of fighting. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, because like Regis, he lost to Josh Taylor. He had to climb the stairs, and he just got all the way back to getting the title. And now he can't pay anybody to fight him. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, dang, he only had one loss. What took him so long to get back? But people didn't want to fight him. And I think that when you have a loss as a fighter, now Lomachenko, he'd already had two. He'd already had two losses, and I don't know. Only reason why I say Loma could still possibly be a good option, one, because of what Devin gonna do, but for two, I don't think he gonna take a beating in that fight. You know what I'm saying? I think he gonna, you know, if he loses, it's gonna be probably like him and Ortiz, like Loma and Ortiz or something. I don't know. But you know, we gotta see the fight. But I don't see, if either one of them lost and the next one was going to fight Tank, if it was built right where, okay, all right, well, look, get your tune up or get, you know, whatever you need to get in preparation for Tank, I don't really see that being a bad thing either, because, one, we want to see them fight each other. You know what I'm saying? I think it's just like this. Put it like this. Let's just say it was no weight issues or anything like that, and it came down to, you know, Tank and Devin fighting. I don't see why we wouldn't want to still see, even if Devin lost, why we still wouldn't want to see Devin against Shakur.
Okay, what would happen, I believe, is if Devin wins the fight, okay, or let's say if Lomachenko wins the fight, okay, you got to realize that along with that win is undisputed. All the belts. Now, that creates a more lucrative fight for Tank at 135, fighting for all the marbles.
Absolutely.
So, when you got all the marbles, you almost the A side to fighting Tank in a sense, because you got them all.
Yeah,
because if Devin was to go into a fight with Tank and he's victorious and he's got all his belts, he's gonna proclaim himself the A side.
Yeah, but that's why I don't want to even put too much energy in that fight, because that's not how that's gonna go, and that's not how it is gonna go. They want these numbers. They need these Lomachenko numbers to be like blockbuster, and they had half price. They had like $60. They had a major discount, and that's why the fight is probably not gonna happen. Because if you notice, Devin said he went to the fight because if Ryan was gonna win, then yeah, they can do it at 140. That's why that's how they were fronting. That's why I don't want to put too much energy into it, because that's not gonna be the case. That is some cases where yeah, you can have all them belts, but if you making the money and you coming in demanding or whatever, just like with Bud, we dealing with the same thing, because Bud think, oh man, because I got this belt, I'm gonna act like this. You see what happened, and that's the same thing Devin gonna do if we try to go in there with that A side. That's what Coach Calvin and Kenny and all them, they already kind of laid it out there that's what's gonna happen. So they not gonna entertain that, man. Floyd and them ain't gonna have it. Devin know what it is. So if Devin come in there talking that A side, he might as well go ahead and go to 140, because he's just gonna snag us just like Bud did Spence. That's what's gonna happen. Devin ain't selling out. He can't sell out a chicken dinner at a family reunion. They need these numbers to be big. So if he win, yeah, it's a big fight because everybody want to see it. But if he carry it like, oh man, I'm the A side, and he let his head get too big, knowing that Tank been selling out arenas without no belts, we ain't gonna get that fight. In the boxing community, gonna be real toxic, man. I'm telling you. So I just hope whatever happens, the winner, because I think Loma will go ahead and come on in. I mean, he might ride off into the sunset because he got his dream, because Loma always wanted all them belts. If he do that, I see him more likely to jump right in the saddle and go ahead and get with Tank more than I do Devin. Because Devin came to that fight in hopes that he even predicted that Ryan would win. In hopes that Ryan would win so he could fight him at 140. He didn't say nothing about Tank. He didn't hang around to do nothing. I mean, yeah, he got obligations to fight Loma, but why are you at that fight? You see what I'm saying? He didn't even want to talk about, he didn't really want to talk about nothing. He was tight-lipped walking out and all that, almost like he was going to go do a scouting report, is what I took it really for Devin. You know, but he was hoping that Ryan was going to do something spectacular because he was going to try to fight him at 40. He said it on record. So that's how I see it, man. I want to see what happens with the Loma and Devin fight, and then we'll probably be able to better gauge, you know, what the next move is. I think Tank is gonna take some time off. This is the second fight. It's only April, so 2 fights in 4 months. January, and then turn right back around in April. He got, you know, some personal matters he got to handle, and then, you know, he's like a Halloween kind of guy, Halloween or November, because he been locking down that Halloween time, like that Halloween weekend. He been having something that's kind of like becoming his time. So I think we should probably think about looking or even, you know, guessing. We'll know well before then, but that's around the time I'm thinking, that between that time and any time before Christmas, like that, before Thanksgiving stuff. Maybe. Because I heard this, and I'm going to close out on this. I heard this. A little birdie was chirping about this. That he looking at fighting T.O. Because T.O. getting ready to fight Josh Taylor. I know T.O. is known for doing Heisman night, but that was floating out there. I think Coach Kenny and one of them had said it on somewhere. So I know Devin is the money fight, but if Devin got all his things is saying, his father said one thing, but all his notions are saying he going to 140, because I think he got exposed because with Shakur being his mandatory, he don't want to fight Shakur. It'd be easy for him to say, use his leverage while he got all them belts to latch on to a championship option at 40. So he's gonna try to go fight the winner of T.O. and Josh Taylor. So it's a lot riding on that T.O. and Josh Taylor fight. I don't know how you feel about all of that, but that's the research. That's what I've been looking at.
Yeah, I think it is too. Yeah, definitely. That should be a competitive fight.
Yeah. So you said, yeah, I agree with you. Ultimately, when we talked about this before, I think that a lot of pressure. It's more pressure on Loma because of what you said. Because of what you said.
He's in the latter part of his career. You know, a loss right now for Loma is gonna be more difficult for him to rebound than somebody like Devin. Devin young. Devin still got half of his career left. Devin's still in his 20s.
Yep. And again, what you said earlier, I heard one of his coaches say it verbatim, like Tank ain't trying to stick around for too long, man. I keep hearing that. I'm like, man. So that's what's the echo. They saying he want to go and he want to coach and have his own gym and promote and do all. He don't want to. He's saying already he ain't gonna be around for too much longer. Like in his mid, I think they said he ain't gonna be around past his mid-30s. So I mean, I think everybody waking up now to the fact that time is money. You know what I'm saying? And when the big fights, man, these some dangerous fights, man. We see, you see what happened to David Morrell's opponent. So he want to leave with all his faculties in order, go out while he's the man. But he want to get to the bag, and I think this was the catapult as far as taking another level, going up a notch, getting closer to the Mayweather, S type thing. These are the first set of numbers and real deal money and fan base and events. The way they promoted it and how everything was. This was the first step in that. Even though it was Ryan, it was Ryan that brought whatever fan base he had and his popularity to the table. So they're looking for another marquee guy. They believe T.O. has a little bit of it. They thinking that maybe the Devin versus Loma, if Devin is to get past him, maybe that might give him something. But those numbers got to add up to something because Tank is on the hunt for that bread. And I like legacy, but you can't really dictate or tell a man or a company that's doing all that you're going to come in and try to tell them they're going to do anything, because he already showed he don't give a fuck about them belts. I mean, unless it means something, even though that would be for undisputed, because he's looking at the price tag associated with them belts too. So I think sometimes he's divided in between like legacy as far as holding all them belts, but then looking at the price tag that it takes to hold them belts once you got them. And Floyd told him something about that too, so I think his mindset kind of changed from Floyd. So that's where it's at.
A lot of times when you own all the belts, it's difficult to hold on to all of them, because each sanctioning body can determine a different number one contender. And what happens is when you holding 4 belts, you could have 4 mandatories that you have to fight. And it would take you probably 2 years to fight every mandatory if all of them are different. And what happens is they give you X amount of time that you have to defend this title by virtue of the mandatory. That's why those belts often get split up, because it makes it so difficult for you to meet the requirements to maintain 4 belts. Because that's possibly 4 different opponents you have to fight within a year and a half in order to maintain each belt, and it's not often done. So that's why those belts often get split up after somebody, get them, because they can't meet the requirements of each mandatory. So they get stripped sometime of a title, and then sometimes fighters just give certain ones up. They put them back out on the market.
Yeah, that's what Josh
because
Taylor
it becomes too much and too big of an entanglement to keep them all.
Yeah, Josh Taylor just did that. That's why all them people got. That's why 140 opened up like that, because Josh Taylor let all them belts go.
Yeah, because it's difficult to maintain them, especially when you're getting a different mandatory for each belt. Difficult.
Well, let me do this. I'm gonna let you close out on this. Did Tank show you anything in this fight that showed anything more about his skill?
No, Tank was Tank. He did exactly what he needed to do. See, that's one thing about Davis. Whatever he needed to do to come away with a win, he finds a way to do it. This one he did early. You know, Garcia just wasn't a credible match for Tank. Tank was able to offset everything that he was trying to do. So therefore, the big left hook, it never materialized. And because it never materialized, Tank was never in trouble. He may have hit Tank, but it was nothing. If you notice, Tank started coming after him. He started backing up. So it was just a matter of time before Tank walked him down.
Yeah.
He just did it a little earlier, and he did it with more of a one-punch type scenario as opposed to a beatdown. But whatever it would have taken for Tank to do what he needed to do, he was going to find a way to do it.
Spot on as always. Spot on as always. Well, yeah, I mean, you know, we'll talk, and I'm about to start sending you some things because we are due for an update on Naoya. I just try not to flood the market with a bunch of fluff. So I got some things I gotta look up, man, and we gotta have a in a way Fulton conversation because I just seen Fulton. He was at the fight, you know, he was out there showing his face and, you know, and getting some of the, you know, getting some camera time and letting people see him. He is a unified champion. So we got some conversation to have about anyway. I'm sure you up for that.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna go back in the lab and I'm gonna look at a couple of my little sources where I go to, and then we'll have, you know, maybe in a day or two we'll have a conversation about Naoya. But I appreciate all the feedback as always.
Yes, sir, and I appreciate you getting my perspective on certain things. I hope it does much for you and continued success with your channel.
Absolutely, I appreciate you. Enjoy your evening, and I will holler at you.
Yes, sir. You take care.
All right.
All right.
With my old head, you know what I'm saying, chopping it up about old Tank and the implications of 135. Little appetizer for some Naoya anyway, and Fulton talk, man. I know y'all been fiending for that, but anyway, thanks for everybody who tune in, who like, who comment, who have actually subscribed. You know, salute to the kidneys, man. I appreciate each and every one of you. You know, I know that rocking with me because I be straight down the middle on a lot of things. You know, it's not always the best, it's not always the most glowing praises, but we all about what goes on inside the ring with a realistic approach when it comes to the politics and everything else included in the sport of boxing. Thanks for tuning in. Everybody, we're boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.